blank slate setup mode. And what this means essentially is like you can build your agent from the ground up using this blank slate setup. Now, why would you do that? Well, number one, you can basically change and tweak and customize everything about this particular agent. And then number two, you can create your own sort of version, which is pretty cool. Number three as well, it's going to be a lot more efficient when you're using it because it's not using all the calls. So it's much faster, as you can see right here. And they actually guide you through like which setup you should use based on the individual systems that you're using and what you actually want to do with it. But you can see here that you get three different setups now. So you can do quick setup, you can do full setup, and you can do blank slate, which means that everything starts off. Like literally all the skills start off apart from the bare minimum that you need to run it, which I think is pretty cool as well, because then, you know, if you're running this, for example, on a mobile device or something less powerful, well, then you could use Hermes agent with this blank slate mode, and then everything is disabled and you can just add what you want later. Almost like creating your own agent from scratch, which is pretty cool as well. Now, we've already set it up, so let me show you an example of what it looks like. If we go inside Hermes here, the way that I've done it, and this might be an interesting way for you to set up as well, is that what you can do is you can create a separate agent profile purely for blank slate mode. So you can see it right here. This is blank slate set up as an agent, and then we have it as a separate agent profile we can talk to. So we can sort of compare it side by side. So if we just message it right now, you can see that it's online, conversational, it's ready to go. And then we've got all our agent profiles ready to go here. Now, also what I like about this setup is you can have multiple agent profiles. So you can have, for example, like GLM 5.2. You can have separate agent profiles depending on the skill. And then you've got blank slate mode ready to go. And I'll talk you through how it works, etc. But essentially what this means is like this is a new way to set up your AI agent. So instead of like booting every tool switched on, it boots with almost nothing, and you only turn on what you actually need. So nothing you didn't pick ever loads, not even after an update. So the way this works is like you got blank slate mode. It's just like the model, the files, the terminal, that's it. You pick only what job you want, and then everything stays the same even after the new updates. And this is something interesting as well, because if you saw the situation with OpenClaw, and OpenClaw's usage really declined when Hermes came out, because Hermes after every update was getting better. OpenClaw was getting slower and slower after every update because it was loading more tools, more skills, more setups. And so when you have this blank slate mode, you basically get a update proof version where it doesn't matter what comes out, it's not going to slow your system down. And this is pretty interesting when you think about it. It's a totally new way of using it. And also, I know a lot of people like to use stuff like Pi and customize their own version of Pi coding agent, simply because that is basically your full agent that you can build from scratch. And this is kind of similar, where you can build your own kind of Hermes agent from scratch, and now they are not doing too much. So if you look at like before, every Hermes profile I set up booted with the whole toolbox switched on. The agent could browse the web, run code, touch my memory before I'd even asked it to do anything. The system prompts were stuffed with tool definitions you might not be using, and every time you run an update, new tools you didn't choose just show up. This is the old way. And then every time you run an update, new tools get added. And you know, if you're trying to have something fast and lightweight, that's probably the last thing you want. Now with blank slate mode, your agents can start empty. So they just get a model, your files, a terminal, that's it. So you can basically have the minimal to make your Hermes agents as efficient as possible. So if you look at this, when you're doing the Hermes setup, you get three options: quick setup, full setup, blank slate. If you're wondering how to run the setup, you just go and type in Hermes setup inside your terminal. That's it, right? Simple as that. If you're wondering how do you run the blank slate mode, so it's an option you can choose when you're using it. On a fresh install, basically Hermes setup will give you the option for blank slate. So that's how you can pick it. And if you're creating a new profile, you could probably do the same thing, I think. Now you might be wondering, okay, what's the difference between each? So quick setup basically is like free OAuth login via News Portal. So you don't use any API keys. You can set up a model plus the gateway tools. That is a very fast path. That's a quick setup. The full setup is you walk through every provider, every tool, and option yourself with your own API keys. You get a lot more control and customization, but more steps. With blank slate, you get everything but the bare minimum to run an agent: the model, the file, the operations, the terminal, and then you can switch on the rest by hand. Now, you might say, okay, why would you do this? Like a stripped back agent sounds weaker. It's not actually weaker, it's just cleaner. So the same power is just one command away, and you can add that whenever you want to. You just decide what's on instead of the setup deciding for you. That is the difference. And also, if you look at the capabilities when you boot it, you actually have 12 powerful capabilities switched off if you're using the blank slate. You might also say, well, this sounds technical to set up. It's just like you choose the option blank slate in the setup for Hermes. That's it, simple as that. And then also it writes your choices down and holds it. So when you pick blank slate, Hermes writes a list of what's allowed plus a list of what's disabled. So nothing you didn't choose ever loads, not by accident, and not even after you update. So most tools quietly add new features back in when they update. Blank slate doesn't, so your agent stays exactly the same shape you made it. And you might wonder, okay, why does that matter? Like, why is that important? Well, number one, 3 things. So a smaller surface, fewer tools, and fewer tools on means fewer ways for an agent to do something that you didn't want it to do. So it's a bit more secure in that way. Number 2, you use less tokens. A lean agent carries a lean prompt, so less tool noise on every single call. And then number 3 is predictable behavior, because the agent only has access to the tools you gave it, so there's no surprises each time you run it. Now you might say, okay, I already set up mine the loaded way, but you don't have to start over. Hermes Tools lets you switch off capabilities on an agent you already run, so you can tidy up what you've got instead of doing a fresh install, just using the Hermes Tools command inside your terminal for this. So if you look at the old way is like 14 capabilities on. Every new agent boots with the full toolbox. It can browse, run code, hit the web. It can use memory before you ask it. The system prompt is stuffed with tool definitions you probably don't use. Every update can add new tools you didn't choose, and you're never quite sure what it might reach for. So the old way is like a powerful agent you don't fully control, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. The new way, though, is that you have 2 tool sets and you choose the rest. So the agent boots with just a model, your files, and a terminal. There's 12 big capabilities that start off until you switch them on. You enable what this agent actually needs, and your choices are written down so nothing else ever loads. It stays the exact way even after Hermes updates, and the result is a lean agent that does only what you told it to. Now you might say, will this work for my kind of work? It works for anything. You can use a Hermes agent for anything. So for example, if you look at the way that we've set up ours, we can use it for SEO inside our agent operating system here. And we can also use it for video agents. We can actually run it with loop engineering. So we have a loop engineering system here. We can also run it with an agent Kanban using local models as well. And then inside Hermes itself, we have different profiles. So we have the blank slate ready to go. So if we want like the fully loaded version, we've got it here. If we want the blank slate version, we've got it here. And we can just test and see which one we like the most, which I think is a fantastic way to use it. We can also talk to our agent. We can operate it via voice here. So if I go inside here and I'm like, Hermes Jarvis, open up Google for me, boom, it opens up Google, right? It's so fast to use. We've also got the studio here, we've got the images, the video, the voice, the workspace, everything, even the MCPs are pluggable, and then we can manage all our settings inside this section. So I think that's probably the best way to use Hermes, and then you can swap and change and compare, but it works for any business, any model, any setup, because you customize it exactly how you want. And I think that's the most powerful part of this all. So that's basically it. Now, if you wondered, how do you set this up, Julian? Hermes set up inside terminal. That's it. And then just choose blank slate. That's literally it. How do you add tools? You can just type in Hermes tools inside the terminal. So for example, Hermes skill opt-in, and then you can add skills when you want them to. If you change your mind later, you easily can. So you just run Hermes setup agent inside your terminal, and then you're good to go as well. And, what if you need a tool later and you're stuck? You're never stuck. One command turns any capability on with the Hermes tool section here, right? You just use Hermes tools or Hermes skills. That's it. Simple as that. So you can turn anything on whenever you need to. Now, if you're just using this for personal stuff, like the normal setup of Hermes is totally fine. Like I said, you can turn everything on, you can explore it. However, if you are using like a client setup, so if you're setting up Hermes agent for a client or is something client facing, that could be an inbox, could be client data, could be your own business. Probably control beats convenience most of the time. So blank slate is how you get more control over your AI agents. Because if you're running this in production, your agent can't do as much, which means that you can control it better. Now, some people say it's just a setup option, but a setup option here decides what your agent is allowed to do, and it keeps it that way through every update. And that's, a small menu, but it makes a big difference in the long run. And if you are doing, okay, like this sounds technical or Hermes agent, it's all Greek to me, whatever, we've got 186 pages of testimonials and wins from people who set up our Hermes agent operating system. And you can see how quick and easy people find it, right? A lot of people have set this up the first day they've come into the group. And so I know if I'm non technical and I can build it, and these people are non technical and they can use it, then we can all use these AI agents. You don't need to be technical to use this stuff. So, what do you walk away with? Well, you stopped guessing. Your agent only has the tools you gave it, no surprises. You shrank the surface. So, 12 big capabilities start off. So, there's far less for an agent to misuse. You locked in, so your choices survive every Hermes update. Nothing sneaks back in. You stayed lean because a clean agent carries a clean prompt, which means fewer tokens on every call. You kept the power. So every tool is just one command away whenever you actually want it using the Hermes tools update inside your terminal. And you got control because for client work, that is the whole game. And now it's just a menu choice. Now, if you want to get the full setup from me with the Hermes Agent OS that I've shown you, you can make every Hermes agent work harder for you. Updates like blank slate land every few weeks, sometimes every week, sometimes every day. The agent operating system inside the app of onboarding turns Hermes, Claude, OpenClaw into one system with shared memory. So every clean agent you build still knows your business. Every new feature makes the whole thing automatically stronger. And inside, you get the full agent operating system zip file with Hermes wired into one dashboard you control, the setup walkthrough done with you step by step, 4 weekly coaching calls, daily tutorials, a 30-day roadmap, and 3,600 builders, all using AI agents like Hermes Agent. We've actually got 3,700 now. So you can get that link in the comments description or go to theappofferborn.com. I personally answer the questions inside here with a video tutorial. Plus, you get the help and support of the whole community. There's always people online 24/7, so you can get help and support whenever you need to. Inside the classroom, you can get access to all of my best trainings. We have a complete beginner to expert course here. And if you'd like to learn stuff about Hermes, we have new daily trainings. So, for example, we recently put out one about loop engineering, Hermes v0.17, the shopping assistant with Hermes, and you also get the Hermes agent operating system, which you can see here. And this is updated daily with video tutorial and a full zip file so you can get the most of this stuff. You can also jump on weekly coaching calls. You get the map where you can find people locally near you who are building with AI agents like Hermes and AI automation. And I hope to see you inside. Link in the comments description.